Hi, this is Penny Pinch and Granny, and I want to welcome you to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, I'd like for you to subscribe, and if you would, please give this video a thumbs up. I thought we'd do some mail call today, and then I was going to tell you a little story and a couple of tips. Let's do the mail first. Alright, this pretty card came from Illinois. This one is from Kentucky. This one, Atlanta, Texas, Ohio, Louisiana, Indiana, and this is from Florida. Thank you guys. I love hearing from y'all, so keep your cards and letters coming. It's like Christmas going to the mailbox anymore. Someone asked me why I started a YouTube channel, and honestly, I was lonely. I wanted people to talk to. I mean, I see my family, that's true, and anybody at church, but I just wanted some new friends, and I have got them. Thank you guys so much. Now, anyway, my aunt was over last night. We got talking about her making lap blankets for the nursing home because she has a lot of material. My aunt's been making quilts since she was 8 years old. Now, when they were little, Grandma took all the scraps and made clothes with them. The only thing she didn't make, my aunt said, was men's pants. She did not make those. But back then, the men wore blue jeans and overalls, and they were made sturdy, and they lasted a long time. But Grandma would gather together the scraps, and she would make their underwear and everything. And my aunt was telling me about when my dad was little and his older sister, my aunt's the younger sister. The older sister had a slip, and she outgrew it. Well, Grandma, being the frugal woman that she was, cut the slip off to make him a t-shirt. And my aunt said he had a fit. He did not want to wear it. He kept saying, "That's not a t-shirt, that's a slip. I'll not wear it." And she said, Grandma took some coaxing from Grandma, but he finally put that t-shirt on because that's what he had and that's what he had to wear. Fortunately, most places in this country, we don't have to do that anymore. I think we would be better off if we would start saving our scraps and we would go back to some of the old ways, because I think we're getting too big for our britches. I think we're used to having it now, being able to go out and get it on a charge card, and that's what got a lot of us in a mess. I don't own charge cards. And I just think that we need to go back to frugal ways. And you let me know if you agree with me. But I think we do. I think we need to quit wasting so much, quit using up so many resources, and go back to what our grandparents did. But anyway, going on with the story. Grandma would also take those scraps to make quilts. And my aunt said she would sew the quilt top together. I think she had one of those treadle sewing machines, and a treadle sewing machine is where you push the foot piece. It operates the sewing machine because we didn't have electricity. But anyway, she put the quilt top together, and then she would lay either an old blanket or another old quilt that had lost its shoes would be the middle part, and then you'd have another piece of material on the bottom, and she would throw it across the kitchen table. Well, everybody that was old enough to hold a needle, including my grandpa, would help quilt that night, and they would finish it that night because they were doing it to keep warm. It didn't matter what kind of material was in there, it was to keep warm. Now they make beautiful quilts and they sell for a high dollar. But I want to show you one that I made, and I got these scraps at the thrift store. They were in I guess you would call it like a fabric book. They had about 16 rectangles, squares, and had a piece of cardboard across the top. I guess they used it as a sample. But anyway, I got it. I think I paid $1 for it. And I sewed the tops together. You see the different pieces? That's how big they were. See? And I sewed them together. And turn it aside. This is a queen size. Then I called my aunt, and I said, "Will you show me how to quilt?" So she come over, and we quilted it. We set up the quilt. I'm trying to find where you can see the, and we quilted all this by hand. See? Even the edges here. Sit there and quilted it while I was watching TV. Fold the edge over. See? That's all hand quilted right there. Every bit of it. I sit there watching TV with that needle and some strong glasses so I could see it. But I made that one, and then we made each of my children one. And after that, I was through. I don't like sewing. That did it for me. Now, my aunt has got, I guess you would call it carpal tunnel, and then she's got, like me, getting the knots in her fingers and stuff, and she can't sew like she used to, so now she makes the tops and then has somebody else do the actual quilting to it. And she makes beautiful, beautiful quilts. I have to get the one down that she made me that took her 18 years to make. She hand embroidered each square, but she said it took 18 years to make it. And then she made a postage stamp one, and I wish I had that one to show you. The squares were the size of a postage stamp. And she said it either took, I can't remember, she said 5,000 or 8,000 of those tiny, tiny squares she sewed together and made a beautiful, beautiful quilt. I don't have that kind of patience. I'm sorry, I just don't. But anyway, the idea is save your scraps and use them. You don't have to make a quilt, but you can use them as rags or, like I said, on your Swiffer mops. Quit buying Lysol wipes, furniture wipes, what are those called, armor wipes for your car, different things, when you can just use a rag. Use a rag, and then if it gets too grungy to wash, just throw it in the trash. It didn't cost you anything. And you know, life's sort of like a quilt. You make a quilt, you want to use good material. It can be scrap, but you don't want something that's dry rotting and it's going to tear very easy. So you want to use good material and good thread. You don't want old thread because it might pop. You want some good thread. And so if you make that quilt and you make it with poor quality material and thread, well, it's not going to last very long. It's going to degrade fast. It's going to pop, pull loose, and you're going to keep repairing it. If you make it with good quality, it's going to last generations. I've got, or I had a quilt of my half-brother's, it belonged to his grandmother, and it was 100 years old. It was a good quilt. She made it very well, and it was heavy. Oh my gosh, that thing was heavy. But anyway, the point is, in life, what are you going to leave behind? Are you that poor made quilt that before long after your death they're going to forget you? Or you got quality made quilt that's going to go down from generation to generation? You're going to pass those traits on from generation to generation. Think about it. This is Penny Pinching Granny. Until next time, bye-bye.